we are achieving a very key milestone this morning, whereby we shall be signing, or Kenya will be signing a commercial agreement, what we call heads of terms, with this consortium to basically kick off the process of construction of the Lamu, Garissa, Isiolo roads. Now, those of you who may know the geography, in this country we have two corridors, key corridors, in terms of our transport corridors and also in terms of our development corridors. The first corridor commences from Mombasa to Nairobi. It goes to the west, Kisumu, up to Malaba, the border with Uganda. We call that the Northern Corridor, and that is fairly developed. You know that the same line which is taken by the SGR is the same line which is taken by the Mombasa-Nairobi Highway. It's the same route we are taking to Naivasha in terms of SGR. So that route is very, very developed. But then we also have what we call the Lapsset corridor, which starts from Lamu, goes to Isiolo. From Isiolo, there's one branch going to Moyale. Another branch goes to the border with Southern Sudan to a place called Nakadok. That is called the Lapsset corridor. And that is a corridor for the future. And that's where we have the chairman of Lapsset here, Ambassador Francis Mudaura, who chairs the board of Lapsset. If you recall, a number of heads of state did launch Lapsset some years back. I think it was 2013? 2013. At Lamu. And the idea was to build the Lamu port. And then we had also a very detailed menu of projects which would fall under the Lapsset. Now, one of those key projects is the road. The road from Lamu, going to Garissa, to Isiolo. That was one of the elements of the package which was put for Lapsset in a corridor. And so it is no longer a pipe dream that indeed now we are starting the implementation of the development of that corridor. One of the key issues has been, of course, financing. But because it is so key, we thought we could not wait until the financing had been put in place for other elements of that consortium of projects. We thought we would go ahead and finalize the arrangements for the financing of this Lamu, Garissa, Isiolo road with our partners from South Africa. And so the event today is basically focused on that. To start with the 530 kilometers, which is part of the 2,000 kilometers corridor of Lapsset. This section, which we are signing today, is actually about 530 kilometers. And this is one which will be done by this consortium. Let me emphasize that today we are signing heads of terms or commercial agreement, which will facilitate the commencement of what we call early works. And then in the process, we shall finalize the financing arrangements for the entire project. But in the meantime, the works will start. And when that starts, the entire project will cost about $620 million US, which is about 62 billion shillings. But that will be, if you like, the final financing arrangement. This has come as a result of a privately initiated initiative, and that's why you find PPP here, unit here. They give approvals for this process, and so today this is what we shall be signing here. Let me say before we start the process that we are opening up that corridor completely. Because if you do open the corridor completely, you'll be opening a lot of hitherto undeveloped areas of northern Kenya, coming from Lamu, Isiolo, all the way to southern Sudan. And if you develop that corridor, it will mean that the growth of this country will be massively enhanced, because those areas have been hitherto been undeveloped. But as you know, when you open up a corridor, like we did for Northern Corridor, there's a lot of development which follows the corridor investments.
It is a great honor for us to be sitting here today, contemplating how we're going to execute this project over the next couple of years. Obviously, with a big focus also, not just in delivering this infrastructure that is key for the country and will unlock the economy of the country, particularly in those unserviced areas, but also in terms of how we're going to utilize the very Kenyan subcontractors in the project, Kenyan labor in the project, which is a principle that we operate with throughout the continent where we do work. So it is a great honor, and thank you so much.
The government is implementing a very important outlet, and that is the road from the port to Garissa. That is now under construction. That is one outlet. The second, the most important outlet, is the project that we are signing today, that will evacuate cargo from Lamu to the inland via Garissa, Isiolo, and even to the neighboring countries, to Ethiopia via Moyale, and also to southern Sudan and Uganda and the other countries via Nakdok. So this, for us, is extremely important news for Lapsset and the country. Secondly, it's also very important that we are entering into a partnership with our South African partners. South Africa is an African country, and cooperation between two African countries is extremely important. You know, South Africa is a lead economy in this continent, and we are also considered to be a lead economy in the eastern part of this country. So collaboration between us, Kenya, and South Africa opens a lot of opportunities. Along the corridor, that is the corridor I mentioned, we have about 10 towns, and we are going to plan for those towns for development, because towns bring markets, they bring investment opportunities, and they bring in a lot of population that is create consumer centers. So we hope, and it is actually anticipated, that the Lapsset corridor will add about 3% to our annual GDP growth, which is very important. The country is faced with a lot of unemployment, especially for the youth, and these projects will help a lot. Thank you very much.
The part of this corridor is already complete, paved. Isiolo, Marsabit, Moyale is a complete road, ready for use by transporters. And this corridor will help because the cargo, which would normally congest the central part of the country, will now go that direction. Since this is a major project which will take a bit of time, we have also works going on another corridor that will connect the two. That is the Kibwezi, Kitui, Mwingi, Gatunga. It will go all the way to Isiolo through Mikindori. That one is funded up to Gatunga. We will be looking for funding from Gatunga to Isiolo to complete that part of the section. I think as Kenya, our excitement today is this partnership with a South African firm, and because the culture of South Africans on use of drones is very different from ours. In South Africa, roads corridors are left to be roads corridors. They respect their roads. They don't build kiosks and everything you can think of on the roads. So we'll be looking to learn the socio-economic aspects of how they get to do this. They are even very sensitive to sound pollution, where they build walls to protect the residents on the other side from being damaged in their hearing, especially for the young ones. Here we want to go right at the center of the road to even cook on it and expect that food to be healthy. So we are looking forward to learning a lot, because one of our biggest occupation is try to keep people away from roads, to get people to know how to use roads, to avoid accidents and other things. And we hope when we do this corridor, as the chairman of Lapsset has said, we shall plan those 10 towns very, very neatly, so that we keep them away from the main corridor and get them a bit inside, because land there will not be a problem. Otherwise, CS, we are happy to be here and to witness this. Thank you.